I began composing really young. I was about 10. I just fell in love with classical music. I fell in love with performing, with the lives of the composers. And I decided that this was a way into the world. This was my opening to the world. You know, growing up in rural Pennsylvania, I did not have access to the more avant-garde or experimental or contemporary musicians. It was all just sort of the greatest hits of classical music. And Beethoven's music really spoke to me in this very deep way, and I almost became obsessed with him. I was just obsessed with all the details of his life and the way that he thought about things and the way that the music was put together. And I used to make these weird little charts of all the symphonies. Did not have a lot of friends growing up, but it gave me a lot of time to do that, to write music and to just obsess about this one man. I moved to New York when I was 25. The day I graduated, I just got in a truck and moved to New York with this friend of mine. It just felt like the most exciting place on earth. And I knew that once I landed in New York, I would not want to leave. I was even thinking today how much my love for this city does not diminish. You know, it's constantly nourishing and constantly feeding me. And I think because I grew up in such a small town, it feels like a victory. Every day that I live here is like a victory. I've lived here in Greenpoint, which is the northernmost neighborhood in Brooklyn, for about 4 years now, and I really love it. And in some ways, I feel like it's the combination of my heritage. You know, I'm half Italian, half Polish by heritage, and I live on the border of the Italian neighborhood and the Polish neighborhood. So everything is very nostalgic for me. You know, the language and the smells and the restaurants, and it all feels really familiar. The thing that inspires me most in all of my music, you know, whether I'm writing opera or a string quartet or something for my band, is other human beings. You know, human beings are the most fascinating things on earth to me, and they just provide such endless inspiration. And so I feel like a lot of my work is about human relationships and our need to, and our attempts to communicate with each other as humans, and all the ways that we sometimes succeed but often fail, or screw everything up, or act out of jealousy or hidden motivation. So even when I'm just writing a purely instrumental work, you know, I'm thinking about all these relationships, you know, different chords or melodies working with each other or against each other, or supporting each other or interrupting each other in a very sort of human way. My music is often a mixture of tonal and atonal and sort of familiar sounds and very strange sounds, very dissonant sounds. So I like things that are seem very familiar at first, but then sort of like turn on you and are then all of a sudden sort of maybe uncomfortable or unexpected. And then the other part that has sort of taken over my life in the last 5 years is opera. I just finished my third opera, and I wrote my first one in 2012. So it's been like a really packed couple of years in that world. But opera sort of satisfies so much of me, you know, that it's intensely collaborative, and I get to tell stories. I don't know if it's like just about where we are in history, because there's so much going on in America right now and in the world, that like there's this storytelling urge that I have. I mean, the news is like an opera every day these days. I grew up in an isolated community where I didn't meet another living composer until I was in college. So all of my influences were from the past. But now I'm very much interested in being an artist of my time. And I want to reflect the era that I'm living in now. And I want to make music that could only be written now.